The story of Bendy and the Ink Machine begins with Henry, an ex-worker and co-founder of Joey Drew's studios, receiving a letter from an old friend, Joey Drew, telling him to visit his workshop. We enter the abandoned animation studio and start looking for what Joey might have in store for us. By exploring a little bit, we can find a couple of things. Henry's old desk, cut-out boards of Bendy, writing on the walls, even a couple of voice recordings from employees.
He appears from the shadows to rain his sweet blessings upon me.
We locate the Ink Machine. By giving 2 batteries to a switch, we can lift it up. Then we reach the power station, trying to figure out how to bring power to the ink machine, but some items are missing. On our way there, we can find a small room though. A room with a cartoon character with its chest open and a text on the wall. Who's laughing now? Ignoring how twisted this scene is, at least you can grab at one of the objects needed to continue the quest. Next is a gear, a book, or a cord disc, an ink bottle, a Bendy plushie. Once we collect all of them, our work is not finished. We need to go to a room with a projector inside, and restore the ink pressure to a valve. After that, we can push the lever inside the power station and head back to the ink machine. The power consumption of that thing must be very high, because all the lights go off when we do that. You can actually see some ink footprints leading to a door that you cannot open, but the moment we try to get near the machine, at that point our only option is to run away from the ink demon, rushing to the exit. The room's being filled with ink, making it more difficult to run, and everything collapsing around you, especially the floor. Less than a meter of black liquid saves us from a fatal fall, and we can use the bulbs to drain the ink around us. Later on you can find an axe to chop some wood boards. We keep doing this until we find a room with ritual symbols on the floor, making the player collapse of overstimulation. We start the second chapter in the same place. For some reason our axe is perfectly vertical, resting on a coffin, probably suggesting that someone was there while we were passed out. Leaving that room, we enter the music department in the studio, where Sammy Lawrence seems to have a religious obsession with the ink figure.
The figure of ink that shines in the darkness. I see you, my savior. I pray you hear me.
In lore, the implication is basically telling us that they sacrifice people to bring ink creatures to life. You can actually see one walking down a hall into a closed corner before disappearing.
Where the hell did he go?
After that, a locked door will prompt us to find 3 switches to open it, making us go again through a hall filled with ink just to turn them on. Once open, we enter the main section, where we need to find 2 balls in order to drain the ink and get to the exit. For the first one, we need to explore the place, listening to some audio tapes, until a bunch of ink monsters attack us. After defeating them, a couple of rooms get unlocked, including this pool table. In one of the recordings that you can find, the janitor mentions losing his keys in one of the trash cans. Checking every single one gives us access to his closet, where there's a poem by Sammy Lawrence giving us an order of instruments to be played. This order seems to be randomized. In order to complete this puzzle, you need to make sure the projector is active while playing every single note of the instruments that we read on the poem, and then a second room will be opened. There you can find another ink ritual on the floor, with a message on the wall, a toilet for some reason, and one of the bulbs that we were looking for. Going back, we can see now that the infirmary is drained of the ink that was blocking the path. The valve in this section is missing, so we need to get further down to find it.
Oh no, there's no valve. Where did it go?
And we do. There is an ink monster with an elegant hat holding onto it. He will be a nuisance since every time we get near he teleports out of our reach, but by playing with some boxes we can manage to hit him. With that out of the way, we can put the valve on and head to Sammy's office where we can find the pump switch to get rid of the ink near the exit, but we get knocked out before reaching it.
We go now, nice and tight.
This guy is Sammy, now part ink, and we are his newest sacrifice to the ink demon. He actually recognizes us from the old days, but his mind seems to be a little bit too twisted to indulge in the thought right now. But before he's able to do anything, Bendy gets him first. Now it's time to escape. In this section, Bendy will try to get us while everything starts to decompose into an ink nightmare. Since I didn't really know where to go, I died a couple of times. Just a couple. But after some trouble, we reached the exit.
Hello? Someone there? I know you're in here. Come out and show yourself. Boris?
We finally rest at a small base thanks to Boris. As a payment method, we must make him some soup. He will reward us with a lever to open the door. Continuing on, we find a lantern that can be used to traverse the dark areas. After walking around for a bit, we get to Heavenly Toys, the area where the plushies that we've been seeing a couple of times were made. Aesthetically, this is my favorite section, to be honest. Here we need to fix the toy machine to unlock the space to keep moving. For that, there is a lever right behind us, and then we just need to get rid of the toys locking the belt wheels. Nothing really complicated. Then the lights go out. After that encounter with Susie, the Twisted Angel, we must follow a path through a corridor, where two options are presented to us: demon or angel. In narrative terms, it doesn't really make a difference, so I choose the angel path. Further on, you can find Boris, who will help you with a section where you both need to push a double lever at the same time in order to continue. Then you'll reach an elevator. Upon getting inside, Susie will start talking to you, and she'll tell you to go find her in level 9. Once there, she'll open the door, leading to a section with a bunch of dead Boris with their chest open. Our Boris will stay in place while looking at one of them. Poor guy. Further, we'll encounter Susie restraining an ink monster. She's wondering what to do with us. Instead of killing Henry, she decides to give us a series of different tasks in different floors, while Bendy is looking for us. This is where the objectives get a little monotonous. We need to get some mechanical hearts, some gears, operate some valves, and destroy a couple of Bendy cutouts. It takes a while. We also need to fight a wave of ink minions too. Another interesting section is when collecting the mechanical hearts, we need to avoid the projectionist, who is walking on some corridors. You just need to stay away from his range of vision, but personally this is the section that I like the most. It's very interesting how much of the chapter is this errands alone. You just need to be careful and avoid Bendy, who spans randomly around the facilities. Once we finish all of these objectives, she just lets us go, indicating that we just need to take the elevator to the exit. But of course, this is just another trick. We start at level S of the complex. For some reason Henry must be immortal to not have died to that fall. Continuing on, we find a management room, where an accountant was possibly going insane, leaving a ton of messages on the floor and walls. There is also a cute audio message with some inspiring words. Anyway, we walk to the archives, where we find a much more interesting place. Some sort of library with ink statues, I believe. We can also find a tape recorder where Susie, before she became the Twisted Alice, mentions how Joey wants to give her an opportunity and how resentful she feels towards him. The reason is because Joey replaced her with Alice Campbell for the role of Alice Angel, for what we can see in other audio logs. In this place we must find at least 5 out-of-place books and push them further inside the shelves, unlocking the door. After that we stumble upon some mines and a new device where you can put some ink blobs in it and it will transform them into different objects like cogwheels, fixing the platform needed to continue. At the other side we can enter a hall where we can see some cool effects. Right after that Susie will start talking to us.
I see you there, my little errand boy. Your angel is always watching. What is it that keeps you going? Is it the thrill of the hunt? The thirst for your freedom? Or perhaps you're just looking for a little friendly wolf? Better hurry, errand boy. Boris is having trouble staying in one piece.
For some reason my FPS dropped in this part where the guy appears, and after opening the door I can see why. It's kinda creepy thinking about how Henry probably knows most of these guys, but he's not able to tell since they're ink monsters now. At the end of the room we enter the ventilation system. Conveniently, there was a flashlight there. Say hi, Bendy. That's okay, he cannot enter the vents, even though he technically can go through walls. In the next section we can find the tape recorder of Beltram Piedmont. He makes mechanical detraction, so it's easy to tell how this section is going to be. Going a little bit forward, my suspicion was confirmed. Welcome to Bendy Hall. This section is interesting. You need to play a couple of fairy games in order to unlock doors and turn on the power of a console to keep going. Some of them are easier than others, but I completely forgot that this game actually has a crosshair that I disabled for the recording, so I was stuck for a while trying to guess where to aim different things. The developers in this game are quite creative, not only in the narrative, but also giving you mimics to keep your attention. For example, in this section you need to throw cans to distract ink monsters and reach a lever, since you don't really have a weapon to defend yourself. It's not perfect, actually it's very clunky, but it works. There is also a section where you need to hide from the projectionist and find the lever of the second floor, but nothing too difficult. Here we also get a very cute scene where Bendy throws hands against this guy. It didn't go so well. The other highlight of the section is this little thing over here. Our friend Beltram became a merry-go-round and we have to destroy it in a very interesting boss battle. I actually tried to survive as much as possible, not seeing that I have to grab an axe from the floor to fight against it. Every time he throws his claws around, you might have some time to hit the screws with your axe, destroying every single lamp, little by little. Once it's done, we can finally open the door in Bendy Hell, and access a card for the spooky attraction. And when we are about to reach the end...
Boris! No, what has she done to you?
Meet the new and improved Boris!
Yeah, this is absolutely diabolical. In this boss battle, we need to avoid Boris' thrust while we try and find ink blobs to generate a weapon to hit him when he's done. The dynamic changes every time we manage to land a hit. After the first one, he starts jumping around the place, and after the second, he will throw cards at us.
Why can't you ever just die?
We wake up in a room. It's the base of Alice and Tom. Tom being the Boris with mechanical arm, he doesn't really like us by the way. They are some sort of survivors of the ink facilities, and we're held prisoners by them. Alice tells us about how by seeing through a glass you might be able to see messages left by someone, so it's pretty much an excuse for a game mechanic. For some reason we keep the glass instead of returning it to Alice too. One day they need to rush out of the place, leaving you behind, and your only way out is to use the glass to find a secret bathroom where you can find a wrench. Anyway, with this we can get rid of the wood locking us, and take a boat to follow Alice and Tom. Here, we need to get rid of some blobs interfering with the motor, while a giant hand tries to take down our boat. It's not that difficult, but it makes a tense situation, even more when this boat goes at 1 mile per year. We finally reach the other side, in some sort of small town. I wouldn't think too much about it, but you can see some doors with light underneath, so there's probably someone living there. If we try to continue, we find this guy, who is basically the same model as Sammy Lawrence from the episode 2. Here we have another boss fight, where we need to hit him until his mask falls off.
You lied to me. You said I'd be free. Well, I'm going to free you now. Free your head right off your shoulders. Sheep, sheep, sheep.
I really like when the villains talk a lot, so they give the good guys enough time to intervene. Just a thought. Here we have to fight with Alice and Tom against a bunch of ink monsters. The combat is not really that polished in this game, but I enjoyed this section. Seeing ink everywhere and a never-ending wave of monsters was cool. Once we're done, we can continue. Alice told us to guide the way. I'm very sure nothing wrong will happen since we're here, right? We fell. Again. And we encounter a section where we need to get some ink blobs to generate some pipes in order to continue. Do not save your game here. If you do, you will start in a room with both doors locked at either side, and you'll be forced to restart a chapter. That's what happened to me. Here you need to find a switch that opens the administration hall, where a couple of inked monsters are patrolling. You need to sneak around them and make sure they don't see you. Once you reach the end, you get one ink blob. So you gotta do the whole thing at least 3 times to connect the pipes. When you do, the film section is drained and you can go there, reaching the ball, where one of the tapes is missing.
Looks like whatever was here was taken long ago.
And we encounter Alice and Tom again. We need to keep going, so we'll have to find a way to open the door, but Tom quickly handles that, making him my favorite character right on the spot. Going through the door, we can see some familiar sections, including Henry's desk again. Which is weird, since it was supposed to be near the entrance of the facilities at the beginning of the game, but it's very clear at this point that this place doesn't really follow the conventional structure of reality. Right after that, we get a moment with Bendy again, and a little bit further, we can finally reach it, the ink machine. Just like that, we need to get separated again for the last time. I mean, I guess at least Tom helped with the door earlier.
They could have at least given me a weapon.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Once inside, the end is near. We find a chair with a recording.
It's simply awe-inspiring what one can accomplish with their own hands. A lump of clay can turn to meaning if you strangle it with enough enthusiasm. Look what we've built. We created life itself, Henry. Not just on a silver screen, but in the hearts of those we entertain with our fancy moving pictures. But when the tickets stopped selling, when the next big thing came along, only the monsters remained. Shadows of the past. But you can save them, Henry. You can peel it all away. You see, there's only one thing Bendy has never known. He was there for his beginning, but he's never seen the end.
The end.
Henry must be very strong to withstand going through a wall made out of metal. Here we must go around the place, trying to avoid Bendy running through the halls like a bull, and find all the levers needed to open the door. There is a lot of tension, the music is increasing, Bendy rushing extremely fast around you, and the camera shaking with each step of the monster. The place is almost like a labyrinth, not letting you really know how many levers are. You just keep going, until you finally manage to pass through a door leading you to the final confrontation with the beast. Here, you need to make sure to lure him near the tubes filled with ink, so he ends up destroying them. Every single one. A little mistake and it's over. And when all are shattered, the lights go. He's not here anymore, opening the final door and letting us give an end to this. And we're back home. Well, no. This is Joey's house, and we're paying him a visit. You can see his drawings on the desk. These are pretty much the things that have been happening in the game. We can also see Henry's phone number in a note. Finally enter the kitchen, we can find the man himself.
Henry, so soon. I didn't expect you for another hour yet. Now you're just trying to impress me. But I know. You have questions. You always do. The only important question is this. Who are we, Henry? I thought I knew who I was. But the success starved me. Nothing left but lines on a page. In the end, we followed two different roads of our own making. You, a lovely family. Me, a crooked empire. And my road burned. I let our creations become my life. The truth is, you were always so good at pushing, old friend. Pushing me to do the right thing. You should have pushed a little harder. Henry, come visit the old workshop. There's something I need to show you.
And just like that, the cycle begins again. Henry's trapped in a never-ending loop, having to endure the same nightmares over and over inside the studio, paying for the mistakes of his former friend. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe or leave a comment. Thank you for listening.